like I'm old time Brady. Living in the world around niggas so shady. Can't even trust my own old lady. Cause she done fucked around and almost had some nigga baby. If you ask me how I feel lately, I've been in and out of therapy. I guess I feel crazy. Put my guard up, can't let the world fade me. I put my guard down, she did the 180. I got depth on my mind, love fester. With time a lot of niggas got game, I finessed her with mine. She said she wanna have kids, so I blessed her with mine. She left me, I'm crying, I guess she was lying. I work a lot to keep myself busy, cause the idle mind is a double swing set. Had me thinking about ending my life by the end of the night, but I haven't lived my dreams yet. Yeah, I met a new bad bristle, but it's hard to commit, cause I just spent 13 years with a chick that never appreciated me. Even when she was sick, I never thought about leaving her, but she left me and shit. Damn, got me second guessing who I am, and the new chick I'm finessing, trying her best to hold me down. It's depressing, got me stressing. All I wanted was a fam, cause I never had a daddy like the kids I hung around. Just trying to be different, don't wanna be a statistic. I even begged her to stay with me, but she'd rather me visit. My kids don't understand why their daddy is missing. Shit, I don't even understand it, but it is what it is. And I bet they missed us in the kitchen as you're catching this kissing. My daughter relationship goes went down the drain with the dishes, and my son don't see his father on a daily basis. When I see their pictures, I still see their baby faces. When I'm on a new life, but I'm taking baby paces. Could've want my shit tight like big teeth with baby braces. I always knew my deepest passion would take me places, and the hard times I endured, that's what gave me patience. I won't take new love for granted, God just grant me graces. Someone told me that if I'm in pain that you would trade me places. Trying to test the theory, forgive me Lord if I'm too loquacious. The situations that I have to face left me in devastation. That's why I'm though like I'm old time Brady. Living in the world around niggas so shady. Can't even trust my own old lady. Cause she done fucked around and almost had some nigga baby. If you ask me how I feel lately, I've been in and out of therapy. I guess I feel crazy. Put my guard up, can't let the world fade me. I put my guard down, she did the 180.
Just one more pill I got to pop, and I need to. Cause it's gonna take a little more than usual to get me through. All I had in life was you. I should just end it all if I can't spend my life with you. Just one more pill I got to pop, and I need to. Cause it's gonna take a little more than usual to get me through. All I had in life was you. I should just end it all if I can't spend my life with you.
Yeah, dog, I'm hurt, emotions alert. I tried to avert my eyes from the dirt, but my pain is overt. She claims she at work, blind eyes can't ascertain dirty work, but the stain on the shirt said the kids don't know where we is no more. But they see that mommy and daddy don't kiss no more. It's almost like I don't even exist no more. Hard shit that I gotta deal with, bro. People like, bro, you better than me. I would've snapped like a motherfucking twig on the tree. I wrote a rap cause if I let the devil get into me, I'm going back to the old nigga I used to be. Get the strap, but I'm better. I ain't got no vendettas. Karma will get her if she don't give, will eat her the feathers because she foul. I ain't never doubted forever when we was together. I used to brag on her fidelity, will never be now.
This earth plane, I try and take off, but both of my wings when I'm flying break off. And if I make it to the sky, I stay lost in the clouds, as if my compass stays off and down. I got a lot of days lost in this time space, cause I'm a ways off, but the sky is no limit, and neither is the atmosphere. I ain't trapped in here with the gases, my ride isn't finished. I fly to infinity with divinity, live and replenished. In this illusion, and trapped in here without clues in this atmosphere, it's confusing. Without a map or an atlas here, and as usual, my path ain't clear, but he's cruising at them high altitudes, refueling as needed. At top speed, I keep moving, slowly ascending. So he has entered a place where you never fly low when you in it. Inside my ancient temple, at a time when I know my mind state is gentle, designing lines that'll paint these mental masterpieces that are vast and deepness. Inside my temple, that's ancient, the symbol I'm vacant, but the principle's basic. Where space and time is non-existent, I don't waste no time trying to find that entrance in an instant. If it's distant, I'm persistent. I just take a second and split it in half, quick in a flash. I'm through the time rift in the dash, and the trip was a fast one, just like my last one. My flights are frequent, my light years are free on nights and weekends, cause Mars ain't reaching the spot that he's in. Not just breathing, I'm quantum leaping over top of these men every time I'm speaking. Up to Shangri-La, where I hang with gods, where my language flies on wings at an angel's size. Singing with the same replies, how to aim this high from the earth plane and rise. From grunge straight to Nirvana, as of late I'm honored as a great this genre. I sit inside my ancient temple at a time when I know my mind state is gentle. Designing lines that'll paint these mental masterpieces that are vast with deepness. Inside my temple that's ancient, the symbol of vacant with the principles basic. I was born on that planet, then formed in Atlantis. Before it had vanished from the face of the earth, they laid waste and vacated my turf. Since space is the place of my birth, I levitate over earth with a grace that's amazing like they play in the church. My proportions are biblical when saying a verse, forcing individuals to pray that I'm cursed with just a portion of the written. I display a reverse, the hatred of this sacred patron placed in this matrix, chasing his matron trinity in the vicinity of divinity with Neo, and he know it'll be either him or me. I think we better ask the oracle, but any questions that I ask are rhetorical, metaphorical. Am I not the one? Ask Morpheus, he'll say of course he is, cause the force is his. Skywalker walks the walk I talk, over on the other side of the dark I walk. Inside my ancient temple at a time when I know my mind state is gentle. Designing lines that'll paint these mental masterpieces that are vast with deepness. Inside my temple that's ancient, the symbol of vacant with the principles.
That's what it is. That's what it is. Easy does it. 2011. Granite Records. Granite Records still here. Still here. Still
Man, what's up, Freethinkers? You are tuned in to another episode of Freethinkers. I am your host, Q. Want to send a super shout out. I done went back to my radio days already. Coming up next. Anyway, send a shout out to Nikki on her birthday. The day after, she's having a birthday after effects. Happy birthday, Nikki. One of the real ones. Very genuine hearted person. Loving it even in ways that I strive to be. And very fair-minded. We're gonna talk about how much of a free thinker you are today, but when it comes to being fair-minded and non-biased when it comes to treating people equally, Nikki Davey on the top of that list. Happy birthday. So for those of you who are tuned in, we got another episode today. Well, I'm going to tell you what we're going to talk about in a second. But first of all, if you'd like to join, make sure you go to the Freethinkers page. We have the StreamYard link posted up there. You can check it out. If you've never been on StreamYard before, it's really simple. Just click on it. It'll open up. It'll give you're going to be like in a vestibule. That's a church. You're going to be in the waiting room before you come into the main entrance. All you got to do is enter the studio. Once I see you, I'll let you in. Keep in mind that most often we talk about adult content, and on this show there's also adult language as well. So just keep that in mind if you want to put some headphones on, if you want to shield the conversation away from your children, depending on what age they are. I'm giving you a warning right now. We will talk about everything and anything, and we don't use censorship as far as what people talk about and how they want to express it. Also, if you're going to be on live with us, just grab some earbuds or some mics. Other than that, then the sound might bleed over and it's this weird echo, and we might have to mute you while you're not talking. But whatever the case is, just jump on and we're going to have an interesting conversation. Now, anybody who hear me, make sure you jump on. I ain't got no problem. I can talk about myself. That ain't no problem. Today, this is an interesting conversation. And you know what? I'm almost wondering. No. I was about to say I'm wondering why we didn't have this conversation earlier before. But I think the time is now. Golly. I need to get my history written down. I don't know exactly when we started Freethinkers. I've been doing moderating debate meetings for I think about 13 years now. I really gotta go back and see the date. I think it's been about 13 years. And we recently branched off and started Freethinkers, I would say about 4 or 5 years ago. I really got to get my history on this. And with that, I'm wondering, like, okay, how come we haven't talked about this topic before? But I think the time is now. I think after all of the conversations, the arguments, the debates, the variety of different topics that we've had, I think it's time to start assessing how free of a free thinker are you? I definitely, and you know what? It was interesting to me. It's a couple things I wonder, because I put the post on there. I thought it was going to be a great, fun topic. And I got a lot of mixed reviews on what, if people thought this would be a good idea, because I did talk about critiquing, and I talked about having others assess how free they perceive you to be. I thought it was just a great idea. I was absolutely like, oh, this is going to be fun. And not only that, because I also, listen, whether or not you like to be assessed or critiqued, I definitely, without question, if you know me, if you've listened to any of my material, I want you to critique the mess out of me. If you think I'm dead wrong, if you think I got blind spots, if you think I'm biased in certain areas, I want to hear it. I live for it. I actually enjoy the feedback. And the reason I'll say I enjoy the feedback is I consider myself a student and a learner. I consider myself someone who, at a period in time where I was not as open and free thinking, to make a concerted effort to be more that way, I do like to assess how far I've come, not only in my own mind, but the way other people view you as well. And this is, I think I'm gonna get into this in a second. So there's a difference between how you view you and how other people view you. So even when someone makes an assessment or they view you a certain way, it may not be true. The actuality of it doesn't have to be true, but the perception of it can be true or valid. At least I'll say that. So let me give you an instance. Somebody could say, Stokely a hoe. Now that could be totally false, wrong, incorrect. However, if Stokely going around winking at people, flirting, doing stuff, the perception of that could be true, even though the reality of it is false. You like, I'll just throw you in there an example, Stokely. Hold on. Oh, you muted. You're like, what? You just
no, yeah, the perception could be, but I'm not. So.
Right, exactly. That's what I'm saying. It could be totally false, but that perception could be true. So I said that to say, even when someone on the outside assesses me, that their assessment could be false, but the perception could be true. So I'm just interested to see because then the question becomes, if the reality is false of how somebody perceives me, then why do they perceive me that way? Is there something that I'm doing that I'm not showing my true colors in the way that I would like? So that's some of the things. So let me give you a breakdown, and then Stokely, we're gonna get this thing popping. What I want to do, and listen, and let me pull my comment threads up and stuff like that. Oh, I see Ivory in there. Oh, okay. Ivory says she want to be. So what we're going to do quickly, and I don't know, some people might have got scared off of that. Like, I don't know what you're trying to do. You're trying to tell people how wrong they are. I'm like, I don't know where you got that from. Maybe people, I don't know. People think we bullies on here or what. But what we're going to do first, anybody who'd like to be evaluated based upon the things that you say, the posts you put out there, and people just have an opinion about it. If you'd like to hear that, then we're not going to speak your name unless you say you want to get that feedback. I'm telling you now, you can come on live. You can put in the comments all the feedback, good, bad, and different, ugly, all of that. I want to hear it. So we're gonna do that for a second, and I mean it's not gonna be long. But then we're gonna talk about some things as far as how others perceive you, how you perceive yourself, and then we want to talk about just how we look at the page, the Freethinkers page overall, and give some assessments on that. So that's what we're gonna do. Ivory just got on. I'm trying to see if you ready for the smoke right now, Ivory?
Oh, let's go. Let's go. I'm ready.
Oh, okay. So I'm gonna tell you up front. All right. Well, Stokely, do you want to give an assessment, Ivory, first, or you want me to go?
You go. You go.
Okay. So now I gotta be honest. I have to be honest.
Please be honest. Jesus.
No, well, this ain't the part of that ain't what I'm talking about.
Okay.
The part of me saying I gotta be honest is when it comes to Ivory, I'm probably gonna have to dig a little bit. I had to do a little bit of digging because pretty open person, pretty free thinking person, even within maybe one of the most free thinking real Christians that I know. There's a lot of free thinking people, but they're not real Christians. But she was one of, so let me say this. I think Ivory, and let me I'm gonna do a little rundown because I this is the way I'm gonna look at some. I kind of gave me some criteria to look at. Own opinions. Yes, Ivory has her own opinions. That's something that I look for that as a free thinker. Do you have your own opinions, or do you just follow with what everybody else is saying? Do you got that groupthink mentality? So she definitely have her own opinions, and she's not afraid to have her opinions separate from what her group or what her tribe believes. Another important one to me, ability to give reason behind thoughts. Very good at that as well. It ain't just, well, this is what I believe, but she actually puts together reason behind that to where you can say, oh, okay. So even if you disagree with it, you can be like, well, I see how you can come to that conclusion based upon the reasons that you give. Changes quickly when facts resonate. And that's one of those things. I think that's one of the signs of being. So when you're presented with a certain set of facts and they actually sink in, you're like, oh, that makes sense. Like, how quick are you to change when the facts hit you? Or do you just stick on your own thing? Well, I might agree with them later, but for the sake of this argument, then I'm gonna stay where I'm at. So when that part, I don't know how quickly she changes when it comes to
I was gonna say I would rate myself lower on that one.
Right. That's what I was saying. I'm like, I don't know about
things you mentioned. I would give myself like an 8, but that one I would only give myself like a 5.
Right. Triggers is another one. Does Ivory have triggers? Does she got a lot of triggers? I don't think you got a lot of triggers. See, I'm kind of mad because I think you pretty free in your thinking. So I don't see a lot of triggers that come from you. Bias, I do definitely think you have a bias. And let me say this. Now I can try to make a criticism out of that. Somebody in the stream, or that's
We're on the water.
Run that water.
I'm on mute.
Oh, okay.
You.
I don't know who that's.
Me. Sorry, yeah. Oh, I was like, I swear to God, I just heard noise.
I thought I heard water. Now, when it comes to bias, I do think a lot of your opinion is formed out of your willful bias, especially when it comes to the Bible. Even with I think that you take up for men more than you normally would had you not had your base belief in the Bible. Now, everything that you say is going to be based off of your belief system, but your belief system, since it's based off of a Bible that includes definitely a lot of patriarchy, then I think that plays more of a role in forming your opinion than just your sole opinion by itself.
Oh, that's interesting. I never thought about it, but it makes sense.
Okay. Likes to play the middle. Nope, I ain't gonna give you that. You don't play the middle. You take a side. You will acknowledge other perspective.
I will acknowledge the middle, but no, I do not like to play it.
I agree with that. Dismissive. No, I don't think you're dismissive either. You just be like, yeah, I get it. I just don't agree. But not in a dismissive way like I just said it. Appears to be a learner versus a teacher, or which one in between. I don't have a strong opinion on that, whether you're more of a learner versus a teacher.
I feel like I come across the people more in a teaching kind of attitude than I do a learning one. I'm trying to work on that.
Okay, so those were kind of my rundowns. If anybody want to use that as a kind of a blueprint, feel free. But that's my honest assessment. I wish I could drill you harder, but that's as much as I'm trying to think. Yeah, maybe it come to me later, but that's pretty much what I got. Stokely, I know you have probably more limited information or exposure to Ivory's thoughts and viewpoints than I do, but just based off what you see, you hear, you respond, what is your thoughts when it comes to Ivory being a free thinker?
Let's see. As a free thinker, Ivory, don't curl your lips up like that just yet. I didn't say anything. I mean, no.
I was doing the dance. I was ready.
Okay.
I was the dance. Okay. So come on.
My knowledge is limited, but I would say you are, I would say, passionate about things that you fully believe in. And like you said earlier, I've never seen you play the middle. I mean, you may dabble in there a little bit until you get an understanding of what's going on, and then you clearly choose a side. You clearly, let your thoughts and your feelings be known. Let's see. I would say that you are one that, again, this is just my assessment. I would say you lean towards the more of the teaching of people, because you will give knowledge and you will back it up. Let's see. I'm going to try to give you an example. One night we were on here and I was listening and I was like, wow, man, she's saying what she's saying and with her chest. And I was like, well, damn, I kind of felt one way at one time. And I was like, well, damn, let me really think about this because she's saying some good stuff. So by the end of the conversation, I was like, yeah, well, now that makes sense to me. I can rock with that. I can get down with that. So I would say you lean towards more of the teaching than the actual student. What else? I
could throw some of those questions out there if you want me to.
Yeah, please, because I'm trying to follow that blueprint.
Has their own opinions. I think you touched on that. The ability to give reason behind thought. You touched on that.
Mm-hmm.
Changes quickly when facts resonate.
Let me know. She gonna give you a little argument, a little back talk, but she's one that you have to convince. If you're making a point and you think it's a valid point, you have to give her reason to believe or understand where you're coming from in making that point. And she's not gonna back down from what she feels until you give her that, reason to. So with that being said,
bias? Does she have any bias in any areas that you see, like, oh, she leans when it comes to a certain topic, she leans toward this persuasion? Like a Christian bias, or like,
yes.
A woman bias, or like is there any bias there?
I think gosh,
I'm having so much fun right now. I'm just so
Maybe a Christian bias. Maybe, that we were having a conversation one night and it was about relationships and husbands and wives and ooh,
right.
Don't do that, Q. Don't do that.
I'm sorry. Go ahead. Yeah, go ahead.
But yeah, and so the way I looked at it is she was hearing none of what was being she wasn't trying to hear what folks were saying about it,
right?
But and a lot of it was just opinions and how people have felt in their certain situations. And she's like, no, look, I'm over here sweating, saying these things, but no. I mean, that would be a bias that I would say, if given the time to have a more in-depth conversation, maybe, just maybe, she would have seen what some of the other people were saying more clearly, I guess. So
okay,
that's it, Ivory.
Okay, cool. Now keep in mind,
you're off the hook.
No, she ain't off the hook yet. There's two more people on. Now, let me say this. Anybody who does not want to be assessed, you will not be assessed, and we will not mention your name in anything, whether you're on camera, off camera, and you still have the right to assess people who want to be assessed. So you, just because you partake in assessing someone doesn't mean that we're going to assess you. That's totally up to you. Decline ain't no problem with that at all. And like I said, even people who, because we're going to start talking about the page a little bit later, and even people who are on here and have not agreed to be assessed, we will not speak their name.
I'm wide open, so y'all can assess me. I'm wide open.
Okay, good. I'm glad you said that.
I don't care what y'all say. No.
So, well, Yehukanan, you have not been on a lot, and you know that was the first thing you said to me when I tagged you in the post. But do you have any assessment of Ivory based upon the interactions that you've had throughout? I know you've been on sporadic, but throughout those times, do you have any assessment?
No, I would need a little bit more intel, so I can't give one.
Cool, understandable. Nikki, what about you?
Well, I didn't hear the questions that you were using because again, my single's super crappy. But
come on, Nikki, bring it on.
No, I'm gonna throw the question. I'm gonna throw the question.
It's just I know I don't have a good signal, so I'm so afraid I'm gonna be super choppy.
You doing it's all right now.
Okay, cool. Yeah. I went outside. I'm at the beach. Excuse me. I'm at the ocean right now. So
I said it before. Say it again. Happy birthday, Nikki.
Thank you.
Happy birthday to you.
Thank you.
Happy birthday.
Okay.
Thank you. Appreciate that.
So we could do it like this. You can just give what comes off the top of your head, and when you kind of run out of your thought, then I'll kind of shoot some of these ideas to you, and you can kind of respond based off of that.
Well, tell me your ideas. I'll use the same format that everybody else is using.
Okay. Freethinker, own opinions. Does the person have their own opinions?
Yeah. I mean, yeah, we all got our own opinions for sure. Yeah, I think so.
Ability to give reason behind thought. Do they just got a reason? Do they stand on their opinions but don't really have any logic or reason to back up why they think the way that they think?
No. No, she believes what she believes. No, it's like Stokely said, she stayed with her chest. Chill. So no, I mean, we don't always have to agree on why we come from where we come from, but I respect the fact that she be about her shit. So absolutely.
Right. And so saying it just because you say it with your chest, that don't mean you giving real reasons behind what you're saying.
But you better know something if you're going to say it with your chest. You better be able to be convicted of what you're saying if you're going to say it with your chest.
True that.
Because we can yell, but that don't mean saying it with your chest.
Yeah. Changes quickly when facts resonate.
I haven't seen that to be the case. Because maybe I be putting out all kind of facts, and Ivory ain't jumping on my boat.
Well, no. Okay, so let me re-say it. Let me
5 on that one.
Let me re-say it. It's not when somebody throws out facts. It's when you receive facts and they connect with you. Like, oh, Nikki just dropped some Jews. Oh, shoot, that really connect. Do I change and say, dang, you know what, you're right, I got to think about, or do I stay on my side and be like, no, I'm going to just stand on my side because I need to win this argument, and I might tell her she was right next week?
No, I don't think that. I think it depends on the topic. I think it depends on what it is. I think there are some things that she's going to be strongly convicted in, and then there's some things where I've seen every single one of us. I read at the same time. I've seen every single one of us be presented information and like the fucking wheels start turning. And it's just sometimes you don't know what you know until you know it, right? And so when somebody different presents something to you, maybe in a different way, or you may hear it differently or see it differently, sometimes we may take that information and kind of marinate a little bit. So I can't say that there's any particular like thing or topic that I could use as an example, but I definitely know over the course of the last year or so, there have been conversations throughout here and Black Tea Talk and, just different avenues, even on High IQ, where I think like you see like a connection maybe with a new, thought or just, so I don't know. Like answering that question, I want to say yes.
She'll let them wheels turn for a second, then she'll stop the wheel. Like, all right. She like, I'm, and it don't. She don't shut it down. She was like, I'm gonna do some.
No, you know what? No, I remember in particular, like maybe a couple months ago, Ivory had made a comment about something about food, saying that some of the things that I have talked about with food have had her like just kind of looking a little bit differently at some food and stuff, right? So like it may seem real like mundane to some people, just something a topic is regards to food or health, but it's not. It's a big deal. So I mean, it could be something little, but yeah, I think that I think I would answer that question as yeah.
Okay. Bias. What bias? In what ways is she biased?
Well, she. Well,
you try to be nice.
She hella Christian. I mean, I don't even know if I can say those two words in the same sentence, but I just
she hella Christian.
So there's always gonna be, it's always gonna be leaning with a little bit of that to it.
A little bit of seasoning on there.
Yeah, a little bit.
Any areas or any things where she likes to play the middle? Or tends to play the middle? Or even let me reword it. If a topic is lean, say it's 5 of us on here right now, and it's 4 of us leaning heavy one way, does she stray away from the crowd, or does she try to say things in a nicer way to not totally disagree?
I don't necessarily think she would stray away from the crowd because
in politics, like some people say, well, I'm moderate. Like, well, you really lean one way, but you try to make it sound nice to say that you get both sides kind of.
Can you be like conservative and like a little bit not conservative at the same time? But
my thing is, so the person who like, I'm kind of moderate, do they get real democratic when they around all liberal people? And then when they get around Republicans, then it's like, I'm just, I'm kind of moderate.
I don't know. I never seen Ivory with a whole bunch of Christians before, so in a real life room. So I'm curious to see how those conversations go down.
That's a good response. Yeah,
I would probably be lean the other way, maybe.
And that's what I said. People don't know about me. Like, I bet you, Dr. Bright last week, I bet you he was like, I ain't never heard Q defend Christianity this much in 10 years. He like, cause when I was on his show, I was the one on the opposite side of the room all the time. But okay, and appears to be more of a teacher or a learner. What do you think about that?
I guess it depends on the space. I feel like because she is more, at least gives the impression, right? I don't want to say somebody is something that they're not. My experience is that she is more convicted in the thoughts and beliefs and feelings that she has about the things that she feels, right? And this we're not just talking about anything Christian. We're just in general, like.
Right.
So with that being said, I think sometimes it's hard to be a student when we have strong convictions, and I can say that for myself too. But I also don't necessarily feel like Ivory is one of those people who wants to be a teacher either. You know what I'm saying? Like wants to tell people what to do, how to do it, for them to learn. And that's not to say that she may not walk in a walk.
No, I get what you're saying.
Like I think some people like to be teacher and some people like to be student, and I think that there's a happy middle where I don't know. I'm not really sure, and it's not a bad.
No.
It's not a bad thing, I don't think, to be either or to not be either. I think it's just how you maybe just vibe with other people and how who you are resonates with or doesn't with the next person about certain topics.
That was a hard one for me too. That was a hard one for me.
Because it's like, yes, sometimes of course you're going to be a student and a teacher. And sometimes you're not either one of those things. Like, what am I if I'm not a student or a teacher, then what am I? Like, where do I fall?
I would say this in my own critique. I try to only teach about things that I feel like I really know.
Right. Like,
some things you can have a little opinion about, but you're not no expert. So I try not to off a teacher about stuff I don't. I feel like an expert, then it's on. But I don't feel like that.
Yeah, and so maybe it's hard to answer some of these questions just based on the nature of our topics of discussion, right? But I don't really foresee a strong lean on either one. And again, I don't really think that's a bad thing. I mean, sometimes you can just be in your space and be in your fucking lane and be comfortable with that. And when you do get into a lane where my teaching abilities are stronger or my student abilities are stronger, then they come out in those certain spaces. But that doesn't mean she's not teachable, and that doesn't mean that she's not, probably willing to share knowledge or information with the next person either.
I think people who have strong belief, strong opinions, and they really do their homework on why they believe, like they have reasons behind why they believe. I think those people, they don't sway quickly.
Right.
It's not that they won't sway. That's a different personality trait, but they're usually not going to sway quickly. Usually, like even with a lot of stuff that we'll get to me later, but with a lot of stuff that you've said, and it ain't usually like, oh, that's it. Like it could be over the course of time where not only do I have to hear it, but I have to see the experience and the practicality of it to where I'm like, yeah, that does make sense. But okay, that's cool. All right, so Stokely, you want to go or you want me to go with what's next, Stokely?
Go ahead.
You saying to you or for me?
For you.
Okay.
Yeah.
Oh, okay. Hey, somebody who want to be first?
I'll go first on you.
Okay, let's go.
Give me them topics again. Let me see.
I would prefer y'all just gave you what come out of your mouth versus before I get that, but that's all right. We go here. Own opinions. Do I have my own opinions?
Absolutely, you do. And they're strong. Some of them are very strong. Convictions. If it's something that you, like we were talking about just a second ago, you have knowledge of, you are, it's going to be a strong conversation. What I do like about the way that you start a conversation or a conversation plays out is that 99% of the time or 95% of the time, you generally have good knowledge to back up what you're saying and what your point is, which is good.
Right.
So yes. Do I
ability? Oh, sorry. Go ahead. No, go ahead.
Do I see in certain situations where we were having a conversation one evening. Oh, it was about, and this is my thing, about calling people racist just for the sake of calling people racist. And I'm the type of person, not to make it about me real quick, but I'm just going to share this. So you said something that was like, oh, well, you know, oh, being triggered. I guess there are things that trigger me. And you said something like, don't let that stuff trigger you. So with that being said, it was one of those things where I was like, oh, I'm gonna ride with you. But that particular thing just gets me. You just can't call me the N-word or suggest, you know, just throw it out there and I'm gonna get mad. I'm just gonna get mad, you know. So yeah. But you made a good point afterwards. You said this is the reason why, because now they own you and they control you by getting you riled up over that word. And that made sense to me. I was like, okay. So I just can't bust them in the mouth for calling me the N-word. and I get it, you know. So the next topic is, or the next point is.
So yeah, that's kind of what ability to give reason behind your thoughts.
Right, okay.
I don't know if you touched on that some. Changes quickly when facts resonate. Or do I stay on my side of the line because I already drew the line?
I've seen you be steadfast in what you feel and what you believe and the knowledge that you have, but I've also seen you go and be like, okay, because someone's made a point, and now you're like, okay, I am open to understanding and listening to that. So yeah, you're not. You know,
no. Okay, so let me ask: is there any times where I make somebody clearly made a good point, and I seen that they made a good point, but I don't acknowledge it because I'm trying to win an argument, or I'm trying to make my point more relevant than theirs.
No,
has that ever been a case?
I can't remember seeing you do that or hearing you do that.
It's possible. That's what I'm asking.
Yeah, I know it is possible. I mean, you know, when someone has a strong belief or strong opinion, then yes, I'm the same way. I'm like, oh shit, you know, my mom had to check me 2 weeks ago. She's like, no, bro. So my mom don't talk to me like that, but she had to check me and make me open my eyes to some stuff. And I was dead set on winning that discussion and that argument with her. Believe me. So,
do I have any triggers?
Ooh-wee. I'm sure you do. It may not be. I mean, you're pretty open dude, but I'm sure there's something that can get you. And you may have to help us out on this one because
Yeah, I'm waiting for my turn. I'll tell them. Don't worry.
Oh, okay. See, Ivory knows. You know.
Okay, yeah. Bias. Do I tend to lean more to one perspective? Like, do I always look at the male point of view, or do I look at the Christian point of view, or do I lean toward the black point of view, or the dreadlock society point of view, or whatever it is?
I haven't seen it. Again, that's, you know, I'm here sporadically, but I haven't seen it. No, I'll say no to that one then.
Okay.
For now, I'm sure Ivory can help us on that one too.
Likes to play the middle. Now, I can tell you as a moderator, I like it, not personally, but as a moderator, I'm sure that's I'll play the middle often. That's in my opinion, but I'm not talking about myself. I'll let you speak.
No. For you to play the middle, I've seen it. Oh, that goes back to being a moderator. I've seen it only because we're trying to keep the conversation going, and you know, you're getting different opinions from everybody else. But are you a middle walker? I don't see it. You know, again, the personal life, I don't know. To be honest, but
sure,
yeah.
Dismissive. Have I ever been dismissive about any topics and different? Okay,
yes.
Speak on it.
Yes. So we were having a conversation one evening about women It may have been just a couple weeks ago because Jewel was on here and Jewel made a good point. I was like, yes, Jewel, you're absolutely right, Jewel. Okay. And you were kind of dismissive to her point. And I was thinking to myself, like, well, hang on. Something about being on a period or something. I don't know. I can't remember exactly what it was. And you kind of just was like kind of dismissive to it because you ain't never had a period before. And she was like, yeah, you have never had a period, so you don't know, you can't talk for, but she made a good point. I can't remember exactly what it was, but I felt like you was just like, damn. So
I think I felt like she tried to dismiss me because I didn't have a period, so I didn't have a right to have an opinion. But you probably are right about that one, yeah. Okay.
Yeah. So I mean,
okay, I'm gonna go back and watch it too now. Yeah.
It was just kind of I took it as being just dismissing her point and her validity to something that she deals with as a female. Gotcha. So yeah.
Okay. Good. I like that. Appears to be teacher versus learner. Which one am I always looking to try to tell somebody something or put them up on game, or am I looking to soak it in?
I think, again, as a moderator, I think you go both ways. I've seen you go both ways where you're willing to learn and willing to listen. And again, being a intelligent person, you share a lot of knowledge with people, so that's the teacher side of what you do. And then also willing to learn and listen to other people in certain situations as well. So I would lean more towards the teacher side of things. Again, just being an intelligent person.
Sure.
You're sharing that with people. So, it's not a bad thing.
Sure. Yeah, absolutely. Okay. Thank you. I appreciate that. And guys, while anybody who's listening, feel free to post in the comment thread as well if you have any additional thoughts as well. And just because you comment on us, that don't mean we're gonna comment back on you, so you ain't got to worry about that. All right. Ivory, Nikki, anybody want to go next?
I mean, sure, why not? Ivory, you want to go first?
Sure. Okay, so overall on the free thinking scale, I think I'd give you about an 8, maybe an 8.5.
Okay.
I think you do pretty good with it. You definitely have your own opinions. You definitely have information to back up those opinions. What was next? I don't feel like you have very many bias. I think we all have bias, so I don't want to say you don't have any bias, but I don't think you have a lot of bias. I think you do get triggered sometimes.
Is it any specific area where I get triggered more?
If you feel like you're being, I say feel like because, conversations can go so many different directions. Sure. It doesn't mean it's a person's intention, but if you feel like you're being bullied, you get triggered. If you feel like someone is trying to talk over or around your point or not really deal with your exact point,
then give me an example.
You just dig all the way in and you do get a little triggered by that. Sometimes irrationally. You get triggered by.
Oh, hold on, Ivory. You hold on. You chopping up a little bit. Can y'all hear her?
It's not me. Okay, I thought it was me.
Oh. Okay. Can you guys hear me?
Mm-hmm.
I can hear you now.
Yes. No.
Yeah.
Okay. Yes. So you get a little triggered sometimes. Okay, this is the dismissive thing too. Sometimes you get a little triggered and dismissive when conversations are
go back. You said when conversations are
circular.
What? Circular. Okay.
Going in a circle. So when, instead of it moving forward on like the new direction, it starts like going back in the same loop. I've seen you be a little sometimes dismissive if you see a conversation going in a loop.
Okay.
What's something else? Play the middle. I think you do it for show purposes and because it entertains you a little bit.
Okay.
You get a little bit of entertainment on pushing people's buttons, even sometimes when you agree with them, because it's entertaining. So you do play the middle a little bit. What was the last? I'm missing something? I thought did I touch all of them?
You talked about the triggers. You talked about me being a little dismissive, unless you want to go in further on that.
You're not normally ever dismissive. The only time is when conversations are going in circles.
Okay.
But like, you're not just like a dismissive person. Do you? What was the other one? I just had something.
More of a learner or a teacher, and then if it's something else outside of just those base things, then.
I think that's something I give you a lot of really high points on. Like, if it's something you really feel like you don't know enough about, you are like very open to learn. Like, you ask really good questions. Like, you really want to like learn about stuff you don't feel like you have a full understanding of. So I will give you learner in that way, that you are like a good learner.
Okay, cool. Anything else outside of those questions?
You are very, very open to new information and new thoughts. Like way, way more open than me. So in that, like I said, I will give you an 8.5 on the Freethinker chart, on my Freethinker chart.
Okay, cool. I like that. Nikki.
Yes.
What's your thoughts?
You want to run them by me? I mean, I know what you're asking, but run them by me play by play.
Okay. You want me to go one by one or just give them general? So you
no, play by play. One by one.
On opinions.
On opinions?
My own opinions. I have my own set of opinions. I don't lean to somebody else to.
No, you definitely have your opinions, but I think that when solid information may be presented, especially by people that you might actually vibe with, on maybe a mental level, I think that you're definitely open to exploring. So even though you have your own opinions and they are yours, like, that doesn't mean that you're closed-minded either. That's probably been the one thing that I have experienced about you the most over all these years, is that you are not the same Q today that you were when I met you. You are, but there's a lot of things that have changed, and not in a bad way, in a way that it's like your mind has continuously opened since I've known you. So, but you still have your own opinions, absolutely.
For sure. Yeah. Don't give up on me. God know my heart.
No, I ain't gonna give up on you now.
That's an old church term.
Mine too. I don't know what that term is.
Don't give up on me. God know my heart. God ain't through with me yet.
I don't go don't mean I don't know.
Ability to give reasons behind thought.
Yeah, you're generally not gonna speak on something that you don't know something about. So if you give something, you're able to give a reason behind why you say it or why you think it.
Right. So if I say this is 5, then I can tell you what 2 and 3 is that got me up to this being 5.
Use that example again.
If I say this is 5, then I should be able to show you where I got the 2, where I got the 3, to show you how I come to the 5.
Definitely. Yeah, I think so. And I think
I say that because some people, they'll say it's 5, and I'm like, okay, so how do you get that?
Right.
Because it's a 5 right there. Okay.
Because they said so.
But how does it get to the
right?
Look at it, it's 5.
Right. Right.
Triggers. What triggers do I have?
I've been trying to think that. I mean, I know when your buttons are gonna get pushed, but I can't.
Well, then that should be a trigger, right? If you
But
know
I
when
can't.
they're
But I
gonna
don't
get
even
pushed.
associate the two with each other. It's weird. I'm trying to figure that out. But the only times I've seen you, I mean, I can't identify what it is that your triggers are, but you don't have many that you let get you to a place where some shit will pop off if we take this any further. You're usually good about how you control whatever those triggers may be. However, when they do seep out, they all have a common denominator. I don't know if that's a trigger. I don't know. Oh shit! I'm tripping? Is the Wi-Fi tripping?
Your face is, but I hear you fine though.
That face though you making is something else. God damn.
Okay, there we go.
No,
yeah, we can hear you.
We can hear
the
you.
face ain't changing, but it don't matter.
Okay, I'm just all. I can't hear nothing.
Okay. Any bias? Do I have a tendency to lean one way no matter what the topic is? I'm gonna lean to a certain persuasion.
However you feel about it. I mean, but how is that not what anybody does, right?
Well, I'm saying bias. Well, what do you, like I said, I think Ivory leans more to a man point of view. She has more of a man bias because of the way she believes in the Bible.
Yeah. I think that you have a bias. I don't even know if it's the right word to use, but I don't know. I have to put my thoughts together. It's a man's perspective. There's something about you that has a bias for a man's perspective, but not just any man's perspective. It's not every man's perspective. It's not for every man's perspective, but there's a certain place that you come from. But those are things that are based on experiences as who we are. And you as a man, and I'm sure as a Black man, and as a father, and as a husband, and as an ex-husband, and all of these collective things, you definitely can have that in your, I guess, bias box in certain conversations.
I agree with that.
But that's really the only thing I feel like I could really hang on you. I can't say that you come from this Christian place anymore, because you don't. You do still have that in your bones, but you don't lead with that. You know what I'm saying?
It is in your bones. That's correct.
It is.
I agree with that.
Yeah, it's in your bones. I also don't think that you. Yeah, I don't think that you necessarily lead with that, but that can also cause a bias, because that is something that you are so strongly attached to that I think that honestly, if you somehow decided to completely bail, you would have a really hard time with that. So I think that there is a bias towards that because there's a comfort in that space that religion or Christianity or just the union of has brought to you. So there's a bias sometimes in that. Like, I know if I go hard as fuck, at some point I'm gonna push a button. Like, I don't want to do that. You know what I'm saying? Like, that's not something I want to do. I don't want to strike that energy. So there's a lean towards sometimes that, and maybe that's the defense mechanism, defending something that's important to you. So there's a little bit of a bias in that. But other than that, I think you're able to be pretty neutral in a lot of things today, for sure.
Okay, I like that. Let me see. Dismissive, or am I dismissive in any ways or any topics?
Every once in a while you be dismissive, but this shit just be funny to me because it's the same shit that get on my nerves. So I'm like, I'm glad you say it. In particular to what it is. When are you dismissive? what Ivory said. If somebody just like keeps repeating the same shit like 9 different ways, and it's like we heard you, or you know.
Well, let me re-ask this: is there any ways that, or not any ways, any topics that I lack desire to understand? I guess that's another way of looking at being dismissive. Like when it comes to this topic, I'm gonna dismiss it because I don't. You said
flatter.
Oh, yes, I'm extremely. I'm so dismissive of flat Earth. You are correct.
Flat Earth.
That. I was like,
that's all right. Like, we still got a couple more years to work on you. We'll get you in there.
I don't care. What no, y'all? I don't care.
Right.
Yeah, that's my. Yeah. No, you're absolutely right about that.
You said flat Earth.
Yes.
Yeah.
You are dismissive of that.
He ain't trying to have that conversation at all. He don't give a damn about nothing about flat Earth. No matter how much shit you try to present him, he don't give a damn.
Yeah.
Did you likes to play the middle? You know, do I have a tendency to play the middle? Or let me rephrase this: do I have a tendency to play the middle based upon the direction that the crowd seems to sway?
No.
Okay.
No.
And then just appears to be more of a learner or a teacher. Is there one more than the other? Do I have a I need to?
Yeah, I don't know if I feel like you need to do anything, but you definitely have more of a teacher vibe to you than a student vibe. Now that doesn't mean you're not a student, because I just sat here and said that over the last 8 years I've seen you do nothing but continuously grow. So obviously you have to maintain student status if you're gonna be able to continue to grow, right? So
right.
So I guess I'll say maybe more of a teacher, but at the same time you like to learn. That's why we do this thing every fucking Tuesday. So but I still think that if I didn't fine tooth comb it, I would say that you would fit a teacher section more than I think a teacher would come first.
Okay, cool. Any other thoughts that's outside of the questions that were there?
No, I give my flowers and my complaints on a regular, so no, ain't nothing missing. And it, and those were good questions. Those were good questions.
Okay, cool. Well, thank you. That's good stuff. I thoroughly enjoyed that.
Well, good. Thank you. It was
hot. Stokely, are you ready, sir? Or are you? I ain't saying are you ready. Oh yeah, you already said you are.
Yeah, I'm wide open. Y'all go ahead. What y'all know about me?
Okay. So let me say this first. I'll go ahead and start first because I got limited information on Stokely.
Okay.
So I don't think I'm gonna be long as far as what my assessment is of you. I think you're very solid in all of your thoughts. All of your thoughts are solid. Sometimes I ain't frustrated. It's hard for me to disagree with you often.
Right.
Most of your thoughts, I see where they come from. They just is real solid, good logic, thought out well. And I can tell one thing about being a free thinker, you are a listener. Yehuka, and I get back to you in a second. I ain't know you was back on, but I'll come back to you. He can.
I'm still trying to work out this.
Yeah, he
got
this streaming you got me on, man, because I'm trying to, plug it into my headphones and it's just not working.
Okay, no problem. Just my observation, you're not quick to speak at any time. You do have opinions, and you often have opinions, and you usually, I like that you have opinions about just about everything, but you're not quick to speak, and you're not quick to force your thought. And it's kind of the way that it kind of coincides with the way that you speak. That's you. Even when you talk, you're pretty even keel. You don't get extra excited. There's no topic that has you clutch your pearls, for lack of a better term. let me see. Where's a criticism? I don't think any. I definitely think you have your own opinions. I wonder. This is what I don't know. I wonder if you have stronger opinions, but you save the punch in your opinions for the sake of it being palatable for people to receive. And I do that sometimes. Like, let me say this in a way that people can get it without, holding their arm because I punched them too hard. And then there's other times that I'm throwing haymakers. But you come off usually as someone who it almost comes off as that you don't have solid opinions, but I don't think that's the case.
No.
I think it's your presentation. Sometimes you I don't want to say you play it a certain way, but the only way I can say it is I think you can be more direct if you so chose to.
Yes.
Appears to be a learner, teacher. You definitely you at least for this show, you definitely play the role more of a learner, even though I can tell you really got a lot to teach. But that's the dynamic, because you can easily be either, but you choose to kind of take it in more than you prefer to get it out. I don't see you being dismissive in any type of ways. So without me keep looking at all of these, I haven't seen any triggers. You come off as very open. I don't know. I would have to kind of poke at you to see if you had any triggers. But this is nothing that I directly see. You do come off as a pretty open-minded, and I might be offensive, but I'm not trying to be offensive when I say this, especially of someone at your age bracket. Because there's people I know within a certain age that they're not open to a lot of these conversations, and they stuck in the way that they think, and that's the way that I always thought, and I'm not listening to you. What I say is the right way, and it ain't no other way. So like I said, it's limited information, but that's just my perception of what
that's good. Thank you. I appreciate that. Yeah. And you were right in saying I can be brash. I can be, I can say things, but I need to feel out, and I'm listening all the time.
Right.
So I rather listen and take it in and make sure that I understand it, then I can digest it, and then I can process it. And then if I need to give you that smoke back, I can give you that smoke if I need to, Right. So that's just the way that my mind works.
Right.
Nikki, you got something bad to say about your boy?
Go ahead.
Go ahead, Ivan. I'm sorry.
Okay, Queen, give me the questions so I don't fumble all over the place.
I like the questions.
Okay. Own opinions.
No, I just like it's pretty good.
Definitely have your own opinions. Now, the funny thing I think about you, Stokely, is the next question about like backing up opinions. I think that's
sir.
Please,
sir.
Can mommy talk?
Sir. Yes, you, sir.
The next part about backing up opinions, like, I think you be having like 5 thoughts after your opinions, but like sometimes you just be looking like, I ain't got time to go through all of that with y'all. Look, this is how I feel. I said it. I'm moving on.
That's fair. That is fair.
They be like, why you feel like that? Look, that's just how I feel. And I know you got 5 thoughts, but sometimes you like, I'm not going through all that with y'all. So that's my thought on the second part of that. What's the next question, Courtney?
Okay, so you talk about ability to give reason behind thought. So you kind of said it's not that he don't have the ability to, but he
just be like, listen, right. I said it. I said what I mean.
Changes quickly when facts resonate.
Yeah, I would definitely say I've heard you several times be like, oh, I never thought about it like that, or oh, so and so made a good point when they said this. So I think he's very, very open to new information and new thoughts.
Any triggers?
I hear him come on here triggered by what other people have done throughout his day, but I have never seen anybody on Freethinkers trigger stuff.
Right. Does he have any bias?
I'm sorry, I can't even. What did you say?
Any bias? Does he lean toward a certain way when he's speaking about any particular thought?
Black man bias. He got a black man bias.
Yeah, black man bias.
Okay.
He got a black man bias. That black bias is strong.
Is it just like overpowering?
It's not. You know what? When you first started the show, it was like a little bit like, I'm like, this is a whole black man, and he is like for real. But as time went on, no, it definitely isn't.
And see, that's the funny thing, because I didn't see that, but I'm a black man, so of course I wouldn't. You know, that's the funny part. Because
if I may, and when you deal with it every day of your life, and like I'm the only black person where I work at, and you go 8 hours a day and you sitting there listening to some of this foolishness that goes on and said, and so on and so forth. And if I don't stand up for myself, I ain't got nobody there to stand up with me, or for me. So that comes off, and I'm,
this ain't the time for you to be defending yourself. You're supposed to be listening.
Oh, that's right. I'm just listening. My bad. Go ahead. Nikki, this ain't.
I feel
okay.
You
I was writing down stuff. I'm like, if we got time, I'm
gonna
respond to some of this later if we get time.
That's right. I forgot. Go ahead.
You within your rights. You within your rights.
Okay. Black man bias, likes to play the middle. Does he like to play the middle?
I don't think he likes to play the middle. I just think he's pretty even about most things.
Okay. Dismissive in any subjects or topics?
No, I've never seen him be dismissive.
Appears to be a learner more versus a teacher, or?
It depends on the topic. I've definitely seen us talk about things that pertain to, African Americans, mobility, things like that. And I've seen him be a teacher in those moments about things that have happened and things that are happening. And then I've seen other topics where he's definitely a learner.
Okay. Gotcha. Well, August said your conversation is over. Shut it down. So you're Hukanan. I'm gonna let you get to me before we get to Nikki. But first, let me ask: I don't know if you've been in enough of the recent shows to assess Stokely. Do you have anything to say about Stokely, or you pass on that?
I haven't been in enough recent shows, so I can't really give an assessment.
Okay. So now, even when it comes to me, you haven't been in a lot of recent shows, but maybe you've had enough shows in the past to have an assessment. I don't know if you want to go more retro on that.
Maybe we'll see.
Do you have any thoughts when it comes toward me being a free thinker or lack thereof?
As far as thinking for yourself? I'm asking.
Yes. Yeah.
Oh yeah, because being a free thinker is one of the I'll say prerequisites or perks of being a free thinker is to being able to think for yourself, critically think, a critical thinker. I think you do have that that attribute to your repertoire as far as being able to think for yourself and give your input on topics. So as far as my experience, I think you have that in your arsenal as far as not being easily persuaded, being able to formulate your own thought and opinion. So yeah, you appear to be there.
Okay. Any noticeable triggers or any bias that I have?
Outside of the Christianity one, you seem to be all right. Triggers, I haven't seen much triggers, only when we get down in the chess game.
Ain't got no reason to be triggered. I'm winning.
only when there's trash talking, but I haven't seen, as far as like topics, I mean, I've seen you have been triggered like on but it's like it's been a while ago, so I can't really pinpoint it. but I have seen you get a little bit animated in certain, I'll say live topics, not online. But I have seen you've got, I have seen you getting triggered by certain topics that were brought forth. I've seen
and
that.
then let me ask a step further. Triggered to the point where I lose reason.
No, to where you try to substantiate your point or further along your point, or at least trying to bring it back to level ground. Or if you're trying to further more your point, you know, when you don't feel that a person is listening or they're not trying to comprehend what you're conveying, then you'll get a little animated on that. Like for example, the last time I was here, I think you and Nikki kind of got into a heated exchange. I know it's all out of love, but I know there were some things that got you triggered that she said. So
okay. Anything else?
No, I don't have anything off the top.
Okay, cool. We're gonna get back to that in a second. Well, shoot, Nikki, before we get to you, I guess it's just you and I who may be qualified to give an assessment. Well, I'm sorry, Yehukanan, did you
well, he already said he hadn't been on many shows with Stokely.
Well, that's what I'm saying. So Stokely and Ivory may not have anything to say, but me and you may. But that's only if.
Are you done with the interrogation?
It's just.
Well, I'm asking. Would you like to be interrogated?
Well, you wanted me to give you my assessment on you, so I'm saying, are we done there?
Oh, if you done, then we done. Everybody else already did.
Well, yeah, give it to me straight. No chaser. What you got?
Okay, no chaser. All right, let me get to. You definitely have your own opinions, and you also you have, for the most part, you have a dang, what's the word I'm looking for? You have a certain grace about how you deliver your information. One thing I do appreciate about you is number one, you got your own opinion, and number two, you are not bullish on forcing your opinion. Now, you like to throw jabs quite often, but you're not bullish on overstepping another person's opinion. And that, for me, that shows a sign of someone who is secure in themselves to the place to where I have knowledge, the knowledge is here. If I see that you have internal inquiry about the knowledge, then I'll share it with you. Outside of that, then I don't feel a need to try to push anything on anybody who's not reaching out for it. So I definitely appreciate that. Triggers, I think you have a mild trigger when it comes to Christianity. And I think every time something of a Christian nature comes up, then you definitely have a response to it, even if it's a quick response. Like, so if I mention something about a pastor, then you're gonna throw some shade on their name real quick, or you're gonna throw something about just religion in general, and I think more so, especially Christianity. Likes to play the middle. I don't think you play the middle. I definitely think you have a man bias, and I also not just man bias, but see, some people like I say, Stokely got a man bias. You got a man bias, but you also have like I don't know. I think you have a woman complex sometimes. Like there's like there's certain things that you've said in the past, like, ooh, that's not fair when it comes to different questions or subjects gender related. I think you can definitely be unfair at times, and not just not unfair, but you can have a tendency to throw jabs. Oh shoot, I think he fell out. Well, you're gonna have to listen to this one. He'll come back on in a second. As far as dismissive, I don't think he's dismissive, really. I think there's more subjects or topics that you're more interested in than others. So I don't think you're dismissive toward anything, but you raise your ear that you're more inclined, or you gravitate more towards certain subjects than others. Yes, sir. Yeah.
Can you hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you. Yeah, you gonna. I just kept talking. You gonna have to go back.
That because something happened with the connection, so
Yeah,
I missed the last 30 to 45 seconds, maybe to a minute of what you said. So if you can summarize it.
I was saying I do think you have. I don't know what the opposite word is towards not bias for something, but bias against when it comes to women. Sometimes I don't know if the word is. I don't want to say it because I don't know how to
chauvinist.
Thank you. I think that's more. Yes, that would be more accurate than what I'm looking for. I think you can have those tendencies more often.
A chauvinist tendency.
Yeah. Not deep and not in everything that you say, but you can throw jabs that allude to that. And then what was I also saying? I was saying I definitely don't think that you're dismissive. I think that you're more. There's certain things certain subjects and topics that you gravitate to more than others. So as you don't dismiss anything, there's certain things that you just have limited interest in when it comes to certain things. But definitely, absolutely knowledgeable. And I do in certain conversations, there's things that you're not going to just stand on your soapbox and stay there. There's conversations we've had and it's like, I'm gonna have to go back and look at that. That's an interesting thought. I'm gonna go back and do some more research on that. And I definitely appreciate that. Those are the type of conversations. And when people say stuff like that, it makes me respect what they have to say, because it lets me know they're in it to learn as well, not just be a teacher, but also be a learner as well. So I think
you have to be a student before you become a teacher. You go the other way around.
To be a good teacher. Some people are bad teachers because they don't know how to do it.
You have to crawl before you can walk.
But that's my thought. Nikki, I know it's been a while. Do you have any thoughts pertaining to Yehukanan?
Will you run them down for me? I like to run them down.
Has his own opinions.
He does, but over the years, so for me, what's most interesting about my experience in my relationship with you is that you have not just become a different person, you've literally changed your name too, right? So it has gone along with whatever journey you are on. And I don't say whatever to be dismissive. I say whatever because I don't know what it is. And that's just because I'm not religious at all. And I know that you're doing something of spiritual, religious type of journey in your life. So you do have your own opinions, yes, but those opinions have obviously swayed. Not even those opinions have swayed, but I've just seen things that you have believed in maybe change over the course of time. So I guess it's similar to what I said about Q, just growth over the years, perhaps. Yeah. But what you study, what about you that has changed is also pretty complex though too. So it's I don't for me, like, you could say it's evolvement because that's how you feel about this experience that you are on and probably what this has brought to your life. For me, maybe it's evolvement, but I just see it as like you've changed.
Transformation. Transformation.
Yeah, that's a good word. Because for the longest I was like, I don't even remember what your name was when I met you. Like, I've been calling you Yehukanan for the longest. I'm like, I think it was fucking John.
You're correct. It was John. The Yochanan is just the Hebrew name for John.
So for me, I always know that he's in there. That's who I know, right? I know John. That's who I met. So Yehukanan is a different person to me, per se. So the answer to that question is yes and gray.
Gotcha.
Okay. Ability to give reason behind thought.
Oh yeah, he gonna tell you where in the Torah it is. He gonna tell you when in civilization it happened. So yeah, he's definitely going to be able to have concrete information behind, things that are said. Sure, absolutely.
Changes quickly when facts resonate.
Changes quickly when facts resonate. No, I don't necessarily think he changes his opinion. I think that he's open to a lot of things regarding maybe his opinion, but I don't think that he necessarily changes his opinion because that's what everybody else is doing, or I don't think so. I don't feel like that.
Any triggers?
Yeah, he got lots of little triggers. I love you.
And the foot is one of them.
I love you though. You do come from you do speak from a male perspective, a man's perspective. And I always have to premise, right? You come from a man's perspective, you come from a black man's perspective, you come from a father's perspective, you come from a husband's so there's a lot of complexities to that. There's a lot of easy ways to be triggered when you're multifaceted, right? So you have there's a woman trigger in there somewhere. I'm not always quite sure what it is, but there's one in there. Not a bad thing, because I've also seen you be very, very respectful and kind and courteous and protective of women. So it's not like you're just out here being a dick type of thing. That's not what I'm trying to insinuate at all. But there's like something in there when a woman
make that clear for the listener, because I don't want them thinking that I'm a 100% male chauvinist.
No, you aren't, but you definitely, I think, subscribe to patriarchy in some form of fashion. And if that works within your household, right, or in your life, then that is great. But for people who that doesn't work for, you can see it be like a trigger issue, right? Like rubbing against patriarchy, like because that is a system I think that you do actually believe in. And I wonder if you subscribe to that in the spiritual outline that you follow, right? Like putting the 2 and 2s together. Like the woman does this, the man does this. But I also believe in traditional roles too. So like, I'm not saying that, but like, yeah, that's that you asked for one. That's the one that I probably come up with the most, because I'm a woman, right? So I hear things differently. That's all.
Cool. Let me see. That kind of talk to the bias or whatever. But likes to play. Well, do you think he likes to play the middle?
No, I don't think so.
Yeah, I don't either.
No,
almost wasn't gonna waste my time asking questions.
No.
Dismissive about any things or topics or subjects.
I don't necessarily think dismissive. No, I don't think dismissive. I think, there's obviously things that, like you said, he's more interested in than others. So those probably come with a different level of passion, right, and interest in those types of conversations. But I think that no, I don't think he's dismissive.
Teacher versus learner.
Now, why couldn't I get these questionnaires you giving her?
Well, they're the same questions. She just wrapped them into a summary.
Same questions. He's being biased right there.
He summarized them. Student, definitely student. For sure, student. Yeah, absolutely. And is proud to be a student. So that's dope. But is a teacher of his family and his children. So that's dope too. That fucking works wonders in the universe, when it's all said and done. So, but definitely a student, which is cool.
Any other assessments outside of what was listed? Outside of the questions?
No, it's been cool watching you fucking just be who you are today. Like, when you know somebody for multiple years, and even if you don't come around here for a long time, like within the conversations that we do have, we have intimate conversations, all of us. Like, these are intimate fucking conversations that we have every Tuesday, whether we're doing it on live or we're doing it in that yellow building. Like, so it's just been a pleasure to know you and watch you, and over the years. So welcome back.
True, for sure. I'm glad you pointed that out because I definitely wasn't trying to imply like you was some type of man creep or something like that. That was not.
No, but you know,
that
it's
was
funny
not
because when you said that, I
but I
thought
didn't
Bill Silver
clarify.
in my
Right.
head. That's the
No,
first thing that came to my
I
mind.
didn't. Right. my vocabulary is limited, so I
But
couldn't
that
think of the
tells you
word
he
for
done
that.
been told that before. Tell me if I'm wrong. Somebody that told you that before.
I've had a few battles with women on such topics.
Yeah, and it just, yeah. So yes, absolutely. That's that. I'll shut up.
All right. Well, yeah, it's time for you to shut up, nigga, because now it's your turn.
Well, I was supposed to do Stokely. I didn't get to do Stokely.
Oh, you didn't get to do Stokely? Okay, go ahead. I'm sorry. Go ahead.
Ask me the questions. Run them down.
Stokely, does he have his own opinions?
Definitely. I fuck with Stokely. Yeah, Stokely has his own opinions. And I like Stokely because, and this will go into bias, I like Stokely because I see him be super fucking strong in his opinions. But he liked to have conversations with me about things that he listens to.
Right.
And he really takes that shit in. And then later on, he'll come back and be like, so let me tell you, like, I've been thinking about what you said. And I'm like, that's fucking what's up. So like, I love that part about Stokely because he has very strong opinions, but he is not so strong that he's closed-minded to learning more. And I think that what he talked about, all that shit about, feeling the way he felt and not having a space, I think that this probably being one of those spaces has like allowed that to be able to be expressed. Like it's to have strong opinions, but to have people that you actually might trust a little bit intellectually, it's cool because he doesn't shut you out. So yeah, he has strong opinions, but he's open.
I like that. Okay, so you kind of answered a couple of those when you talked about bias and changes when facts resonate. What about triggers? Any triggers?
Stokely likes to protect women. I'm gonna cry.
Oh.
Stokely protects women, and I appreciate that.
That's what's up. I'll let you get it all out if you.
No, that's it.
Oh, you want me to jump to the next question? Like,
no, I'm ready for you. I'm just drinking my blackberry cider.
Likes to play the middle. Does he like to play the middle in any areas?
No, I think he plays safe because he's listening, but I don't necessarily think that he plays like the middle. Like, not really sure. He gonna know how he feel, but he's not closed to listening to reason. So
right.
It's not really middle, but it's safe because I think in that space he's listening.
That's just in case I need to fire back on somebody. So I'm listening and learning.
You got to listen to hear, not listen to respond.
Right. Yeah, that's a good one. Dismissive in any type of ways or towards any particular subjects.
No, I mean, I think maybe, him and his wife probably have conversations about people and things we don't know nothing about, but I don't feel like that's something that it's been expressed to others, right? Like, I don't feel like, no.
Right. Appears to be learner, teacher, both versus, one more than the other.
Both, but I think more learners. Like, I have learner energy. I don't know, but both. But I feel learner. And it's dope as shit. Because you said at your age, and I'm like, excuse me? Wait a minute. At his age?
Okay, I took offense to that, Q, but even though you told me not to, damn, I need to shave this damn beard off.
I'm like, we're in the same 10-year window. Damn.
I'm only a few years older than Nikki, but
But to be able to be our age and still be open is fucking cool. So like that is something that I enjoy about you, Stokely.
Cool.
I wasn't saying it like I was young. I'm on the other side. You know, the halfway point is past halftime for me already.
40, like you over here with us.
Yeah. No, I wasn't even saying it like that. As if I was putting you on the island. Not at all.
See, the way I look at that is the way that I look at all of that is that topic right there is, you know, even at my age, I'm 52 years old. I can still learn from people that are 35, 40 years old. Shit that I don't know. I mean, it's a lot of shit that I don't know. Excuse my French, by the way. But yeah, so when I sit here and I rock with you guys and the topics that, go ahead, Q.
No, I was just gonna say, like, even what you're talking about, and we're not gonna get into an actual Free Thinkers conversation. Right. This ain't for you. Depending on where you are, 10 years is a big difference.
Oh yeah.
Like in certain age brackets, it's not
right.
Because think about, like, I am at the very end of the whole technology age. This, like, for someone can only be 8, 9, 10 years younger than me, they can't even associate when I talk about my childhood and when I talk about us, you know, being in before the street lights and doing a lot of stuff and even dealing with church culture and dealing with
major difference, man.
It's a major. And just like I'm at the end, and then a lot of things shifted. Like there will be people 5 or 6 years younger than me, not a big difference, and they couldn't comprehend what I was saying because by the time they were at things were already changing in a different type of way. So when you're talking about somebody who grew up in the 70s, you know, you were actually able to be a child in the 70s.
Yeah.
That's a huge difference from the 80s, and just a infinite difference from somebody who grew up in the 90s. Like it's not a big year difference, but the time period itself changed so much in that short period of time.
Right.
That's really what I was referring to more than anything else. Right. I'm sorry, you were finishing something before we get to Nikki. I'm sorry.
Oh, I was just saying
something. So.
Just be like you were saying, the age difference doesn't have to be great, but the knowledge and the understanding, I can sit down with a 28, 29, 30-year-old person and learn from them. And that's the beauty of being 52. I mean, I'd have been through a lot of shit. I'd have seen a lot of shit, but I'm not so far gone that I can't understand what this person, or possibly understand what this person that's 30 is talking about. Or, you know, it's about learning. I can teach them, they can teach me some shit, you know? So that's what it's about for me more than anything
and
else.
Really, that's a huge, I didn't, that's part that I didn't think of as much before. That's a huge, you know, give flowers to you, because there's a lot of people, if somebody 10 years younger than them, it's like everybody don't close their ears completely off, but they always, a lot of times people, when they feel like they are at a certain age older than you, that it's hard for you to tell them anything, or they don't feel like they can really learn from you.
Right.
And they're more looking to be like, well, let me school you on what you don't know, versus being open to say, okay, what are they talking about? And there's a lot, I mean, I'll be honest, it's not a lot of people. And I dealt with that even being a supervisor at my previous job and things like that. And, you know, let somebody be 5-10 years older than me, and they look at me like I can't tell them nothing. I'm like,
you're right.
Yeah, I'm younger than you, but I've been doing this for over 20 years. But it's just, it's a mindset thing to where, but anyway, before I go long into it, that is definitely a great attribute and a sign of a free thinker, to where the information is information, no matter who it comes from, the gender, the age. If it's good information, it's good information. So I definitely applaud you for that. All right, look, we're going past. So the whole other section of what we're going to talk about, we might say that for another episode, because I got a whole nother thing lined up as far as what we're going to talk about, just how we assess ourselves. And then I want to do a thing where we kind of assess the page, what we see on the page, what are the things that we like, what are some things that's missing, what are some, you know, we're going to go down the line on that, but we'll do that another day. Nikki, are you accepting or declining? I can't hear you. Muted. Nikki? Oh shoot, Nikki froze again.
She froze up.
There we go.
You froze on a good portrait though.
I know. I'm good. No, I know it. No, let's go. Let's go.
Okay. Well, let me go first.
Let's go.
Okay.
Run down the questions.
Nikki, okay, on opinions. You know what? I'm gonna have to set this up in a certain type of way. Because I don't want to sound like I'm flip-flopping, but I have to set the table first. So when it comes to own opinions, I feel that, which is actually it's a good quality. Things that either you are not strongly knowledgeable about, or things that you're not strongly passionate about, you will stay real general and broad with your opinion. You don't give hard, strong opinions on things that you don't have hard, strong convictions about, or that you don't have a strong passion about, which I think is actually a good thing.
I agree with you. I appreciate that.
When it comes to things that you are passionate or strong, you definitely have opinions, which also is a good thing.
Thank you.
Let me say this even further. See, this we could have incorporated this with our flowers show that we did back then. Not only that, I in 99% of any instance, even that thrust is coming, the thrust or the emotion or feeling or passion that you have, it comes from a place of equality and fairness. And that's what I definitely, so even if you're not coming from some, messed up place or some weird twisted agenda, when it's everything you do, even when we have conversations about Christianity, religion, it's coming from a place of fairness and equality, and I always appreciate that.
Thank you.
Ability to give reasons behind thought. Ooh, okay, so let me go on the opposite side of this. So I think you do in most cases. Now, I will say, I think when you are triggered, some of the even if you have reasons, I think some of your ability to give reasons it don't go out the window, but it falls back a little bit. Your reasons will fall back to your emotions in certain areas where you get overly passionate or triggered. I definitely, and let me say this because I'm going to different areas. I definitely think religion is a trigger. And I also think, no, I don't think that's a trigger. I'm jumping around, but hopefully you piece all this together. When it comes to, and this you're kind of like me in this area, when it comes to like women things, like sometimes we've had women conversations on here, and instead of you being strong or emphatic about it, then I feel like sometimes you play the middle to it sometimes. Now, what I think about you with that is the same thing I think about myself, even like when it comes to Christianity. It's not that you don't have an opinion, but sometimes you, along with a lot of other people on here, you feel the need to speak up for what's not being said or what's not being noticed or what's not. So even when you say we're talking about some type of woman's topic, I feel like, man, Nikki, like, come on, you can come hard. But it's not that you disagree with what one side is saying, but it's one of those things to where I don't think this topic or this subject, I don't think this perspective is given enough light. So I want to give light to the area that's not being said. And that's why I made a comparison even with Christianity, because like if you ever seen me on Dr. Bright Show, when I'm on there with a whole bunch of pastors, I'm on the opposite. I'm trying to give light to the side that's not being spoken for.
Right.
And I think you do that oftentimes. You try to, it ain't that you agree or disagree, but it's like, this is the part that I don't think is being spoken up for, being, mentioned. So this is the area where I'm going to highlight my thoughts based upon what I'm hearing not being said.
I like that.
Bias. You know what? It's
Do I have bias? I
you
really
might have
want to.
you
I really want to know. Like,
if you do, then you got black bias.
and I I wanted
You
to
don't
hear
take up for
somebody
white
say
people as much
something.
as
Like, I
you
don't
need
know.
to.
I can count on my girl Nikki for sure.
I can concur on that one.
For sure.
Nikki don't take up for white people as much as she
Nikki go to Vegas and always bet on black. I promise you that.
She got that pepper love.
That's what I'm talking about right there. That's why I rocks with her the way I do.
Oh man, that's funny. But
is that a bias? Like, I don't know.
I think so. I think so.
Okay.
I think in any topic, especially if race is involved, you
Okay.
usually lean to the black perspective
Yeah,
more than you
I agree with that.
Oh, that's so interesting. I love it. Okay, that's great. I fucking love it. Okay.
Anything else? Dismissive. Like I said, that comes. You know what? Let me say it like this. Certain things you can do can appear dismissive if it's in an area that you get triggered.
Sure.
But I don't completely call it dismissive because it's not completely dismissive.
Right.
You will dismiss certain things at that moment, but you will also go back, look it over, do your homework, kind of reevaluate, and then, so it's not a permanent thing,
right?
But it's just one of those things. It was in the moment. That's how I felt. That's where I was at.
That's what
when
it
I
was.
look back on it, when I look back on it, you might still feel the same way, or you might. But you in the heat of passion, you can get more subjective, but you will find a way to review and become objective again.
Okay.
I think that's
that was it. That's all of them, ain't it?
I don't think that's all. I'm just trying to think if there's anything else in particular.
I got some.
Okay, yeah, that's enough for me. I don't want to steal everybody's stuff. Go ahead,
first question again. Give me the first question again.
Does Nikki have her own opinions?
Nikki does have her own opinions. Nikki's pretty strong with some of them. Some of them she's very, very strong with. And again, it comes from the passion, I believe. The knowledge and the passion of whatever the topic is that she knows. She's in there with fire on her tongue. I've seen it, I've heard it, and again, that's what I like.
Right.
So yes. Next question was
ability to give reason behind thought. You kind of touched on that a little bit right there, but
yeah. It's the passion and the knowledge of having, or the knowledge that she has that she shares. And like I said, now sometimes, my parents always told me have a little tact about yourself, a little moxie about yourself, son.
Mine did too.
Mine did too. I've seen Nikki go ham before, and I'm just like, wow. But that I can appreciate that. I can totally appreciate that.
Right.
So yes.
Changes quickly when facts internally resonate. She get the information, new set of facts come, it start making sense to her. She
not quickly.
There you go. There you go. There you go.
I think what she does is something similar to what I do. I'll take it in, I'll listen, and then I'll process it, think about it, and I'm like, well, that is possible. That is, it can happen that way. So I wouldn't say quickly, no, but is she open to understanding and learning and listening? Yes.
Right.
Yeah.
Triggers. What are her triggers?
Racist. No, I'm teasing. She
that's all right. That's all right. That's all right.
You ain't kidding.
Yeah, like I said,
right.
I mean,
right.
She would. I've seen her check folk, and again, I just totally can appreciate it in the way that she does it, because
get banned and suspended.
She's been in jail. We've been to Alcatraz together.
We stay in jail together. We're always in county.
If you're passionate about something and you understand and see, I'm not telling folks anything that ain't true, you know. And she does the same thing a lot of times. She is telling you, you know, you're wrong for that, and no fear, say it, shit. So yeah.
Any bias? You know, I said she got black bias, but do you see any?
We all gonna agree on that? Can we all get an eye? Can I get an eye from everybody, please?
Got an eye.
Yeah, she definitely. I'm gonna say this: Nikki D has been blackized for sure. I don't know what that means, but yeah.
Oh, I know what that means.
Oh, okay. So yes.
You know what? Let me tell you something. Like years ago, I was at an MLK rally, and I took my kids and shit. You know, this is when like you could actually take your kids with you protesting and like doing shit like that. So of course I took my kids because that's what we do, right? We about that shit. So I heard this black woman speak in the Capitol, and later on I learned that she was the barefoot empress. She was from Austin, Fatima. Right, some of y'all from Austin, yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
So I heard her. This is when she was still, you know, knee deep in poetry, and we had all marched into the Capitol and got into the Capitol. Ooh, we're inside the main Capitol room where they do all the shit, right? And she just was speaking, and she made a comment. She was like, if you're white, you have to denounce your privilege. The only way that this is going to change is if you denounce your privilege. And if you're going to use it, you have to use it in a way in which it's for benefit. And it just made sense, right? Like that's the only way that you can even attempt to
change things.
You can't undo to change things. Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. So I don't understand, you know, when I come across other white people who don't feel the same. You know, my question to them is, why aren't you as angry as I am? Why aren't you as passionate about this as I am? So I have no fucking qualms ever of using my privilege for fucking something.
Yeah.
And if that means, you know, putting myself in spaces, you know, with nothing but you know, hope for anti-blackness to fucking stop. I'm cool with that. I'm good with that. So I'm glad that that's how y'all receive that, because as you can imagine, maybe for, you know, majority of my life, that's certainly been something that has been a challenge in some spaces, right? But I have learned how to operate in just about all spaces to be effective in using my privilege for a better fucking cause. So thank you for that.
And that's why I rocks. That's real. That's the truth. I mean, it doesn't get any more raw and honest. And
he rocks.
He rocks. You know,
up here just crying on my birthday.
It's that cider.
It's emotional here.
That blackberry cider you drinking. What's the last question?
Appears to be, you know, leans toward learner or teacher.
Wow. I'm going to say learner with the ability to be an effective teacher.
Okay.
With that, she just said what she said, and she understands when the space is created, you're able to teach. You're able to not only teach, but you're teaching others, which they're learning. So she has the ability to learn. And when that space is created, it can be phenomenal, but people have to be open-minded. People have to be understanding. Nikki was understanding when she went and listened to Fatima Man and understood that her place and her position, not her place, that's a bad way to put it, but her privilege could be pushed to the side to create the space to have the conversation about race, racism, what was wrong. So yes, she has the ability to be an amazing teacher, but I think she's a phenomenal learner. And that's Nikki.
Oh, Lord of mercy. You know, made her cry.
Well, yeah, hey,
Crying on my birthday. This is great.
She said, "I'm gonna need another drink on that one."
You at the beach.
Yeah,
I mean, you at the beach.
Yeah, that's what you better keep on.
My
just drink
turn.
All right, Ivory.
Questions.
Run down the list.
Does she have her own opinions?
For sure. Nikki definitely has her own.
Ability to give reason behind those thoughts and opinions.
I'm gonna say this on a couple different things for Nikki. There's like two different Nikki's. It's like Amp Nikki and Calm Nikki. And like Calm Nikki
that's
definitely has the ability to explain her reasons for things. She get a little amped sometimes, not as much, but Calm Nikki definitely can explain where she's coming from.
Changes quickly when facts resonate.
Calm Nikki changes quickly when facts resonate. Amp Nikki, not so much, but you can have that same conversation later and she'll say, I was thinking about that. And so she definitely has the ability to change for sure.
Reflection. That's good.
Yeah.
For everybody.
Right.
What are her triggers? Does she have any triggers?
I think definitely racism is a trigger. I think she can be triggered by sexism as well, or things that she perceives to be sexist. I'll answer both of these questions about her triggers and her bias. I definitely think she has triggers and she has bias, but I will say for Nikki, like her triggers and her bias is all connected to just how empathetic she is. And like she's so empathetic sometimes that I think that's the thing that can like trigger her or make her seem biased, because like her empathy is kind of leads. Her empathy like leads above everything. Sometimes the conversation, the logic, everything, like she leads with
She said everything.
which I love. Like I love that about Nikki. I really do. But you know, sometimes it can make the conversation hard because it's all about she just care about people and what they're going through and how people feel, and so she definitely just leads with empathy. Is what I was saying.
How they feel.
I'm trying, Nikki. I'm working on it. I'm trying to work on how the people feel.
You coming along, Ivory. You coming along. Look, you've been around for a long time. You'll get there.
Nikki, hold on. I mean, we're talking about it's two different Ivories.
Oh, I believe it. I know.
No, it's not currently, but
I
Ivory from about 18. Well, no, Ivory from
Oh
about,
my gosh.
I believe it.
about 10 years old to about 32 was a totally did. That was emotional Ivory. This is a totally different Ivory right here. Totally different.
Whatever.
Well, that comes out. So you know, like I know this, and it's the funniest thing ever. It's great. I love it.
Her emotions would drive me crazy because everything was based off emotions. Forget logic or reason. That had no place with Ivory.
No.
Well, all logic and reason these days. Well, anyway,
right. All about it.
Empathy, so.
Okay, so you talked about likes to play the middle.
It depends on the topic. I think she will play the middle kind of for your same purposes. I mean, this is you guys' show. And so as long as it's not something that she's passionate about, she will play the middle to keep the conversation going for entertainment purposes. But things that she's passionate about, she doesn't play the middle.
Okay. If anything she's dismissive about, any subjects or topics or areas where she's dismissive.
I don't know. Nikki didn't never come like, and maybe it's that empathy thing again. Like she doesn't come across dismissive to me. She might, if she's triggered, she might just be dismissive in that moment, but just like not as like a trait. No, she's not dismissive.
Okay. More of a teacher or a learner, or what's the balance in between them?
I think she comes across more as a learner than a teacher, but definitely have seen her like when she's in her vein. She's talking about food. She's talking about health. She's talking about like she goes in full teacher mode, you know, with those things that she's really passionate about. But normally she comes across like a learner.
Okay. Anything that you want to add outside of the questions that were presented?
Nope. I got it all out.
I take all that. I take them all.
Again, Yehukanan, like I said, I know you've been on here a limited amount, but do you have any
you were
feedback
trying
or
to get me
assessment?
last, and I'm trying to get up and go eat, but it's okay.
It's up to you. You have the right to decline.
Run down the questionnaire, my friend.
Own opinions. Does she have her own opinions?
She definitely has that, and she is not afraid to voice them either. She will let you have it, for lack of a better term. She'll make sure you'll hear what she got to say. That's for sure.
Well, okay, thank you.
You know what? On a side note, also she and one thing, another admirable quality, which I hope that's me most of the time, but maybe not all the time. She's quicker to defend others than she is even herself.
Yeah,
I'll get to that in a minute.
Okay, I'm sorry. I don't want to jump in front of you. That is admirable quality. Ability to give reason behind thought.
Yes, and she makes really good points when she addresses those behind the thought. Able to substantiate her points in a very concrete way. So that's one of the things I admire as far as having the ability to do that, because not many do have the ability to, you know, I'll say to solidify, substantiate their thought, you know, thought process and behind that. So she has a very great skill in that area.
Yeah, I agree. Changes quickly when facts resonate.
No, I believe that she will hear you out and think about it, but I don't think that she will change on the fly like that. It's like more so, it's like, you know, yeah, I hear you out, gather the facts, and then if it makes sense, you know, I'll sway this way. If it not, so I'm just going to stay neutral.
We'll circle back around to it later after I got to do some homework on it. Yeah, that's good. Any triggers? What are her triggers, if any?
So that's what I say. I'll get to that later. She definitely will defend those who, like, I would say weak or you know, being preyed upon. She will definitely go to bat for those type of folks that don't have a voice, and she'll make sure she'll be that voice for them. So I've seen that. So, you know, she will definitely you know, be that cover, that protector of those you know, people that can't defend themselves.
Thank you.
Any other any bias that she has outside of black bias or racist bias? Does she do? Oh, let me. I guess I can be more specific. Do you feel like she ever leans more toward a woman perspective than a male perspective? Like, is there ever
absolutely? She's a woman. she's a woman, but you know, she will balance it out as far as like hearing the male's perspective, but more so the woman, because a lot of the times women are overlooked or degraded or belittled or whatever. So she wants to make sure that, we right here, we have a voice, we have an opinion, we have this, that, and the third. So don't just dismiss us as if we are a piece of lint or a bottle cap.
Right.
Or doormat.
I think she's surprisingly more balanced. When I think about it, she's very balanced on how she views a perspective of both sides. Now, she may eventually go harder in when she's talking from the woman's side, but she's very balanced on
she is, but she's more favorable. She's more favorable towards the women's side, in my opinion.
Okay, sure. This is your assessment, absolutely. Likes to play anything she like. Does she like to play the middle? Does she sway away from being away from the group?
No. When she addresses something, she will stick with it when it's
Not
being addressed. You
not
try
afraid to stand on an island
you
far
try to
by
you
yourself.
try to sway her from one direction, she's not
That's
gonna move.
my
She's like a
that's my
stone.
that island is mine. That's mine.
I don't know. I think
Shit.
if we ever get in a group of all men, I think she could be swayed more toward the
We've
women.
had conversations where it was all men and I was the only woman. We have definitely had those conversations. And I think we
Might
talked
as
about
well.
men
I
and
don't
women
think I don't
stuff.
think you go on the island totally by yourself, but you kind of
I
you're
mean,
not
I'm
coming.
just with
You
me.
might
Man,
stand.
somebody's coming with me. One of y'all, somebody coming with
You
me.
put
But I
half a
mean,
foot on the
I'm
line
gonna be on it.
sometime.
The island's gonna be named Nikki. Shit, Nikki D. That's what it's going to be named.
Anything that she's more dismissive about, any topic subject that she's dismissive.
No, she wants to smoke. She wants all the smoke.
But I mean, sometimes, but sometimes not. But yes.
Yeah.
She won
Yeah,
98% of the time.
but I know she would go hard on as far as like racial tensions or boycotting stuff. I remember when she boycotted the NFL.
Yeah.
She encouraged folks to do that. When Colin Kaepernick,
Still am. Fuck the NFL. Still am.
I did too. I left it alone.
Yeah.
I
When Colin Kaepernick was blackballed, I would say, for what he believed in, and the narrative changed so drastically as far as why he kneeled, and they made it. They turned into a whole nother issue, and then I'm not going to get into the politics of it, but you guys get the gist.
Let me say something. Let me tell you something that, and if I remember this correctly, something that impressed me about as more than anything I could think of. It was some story. You might be able to tell me better than this. It was something going on with the natives, like in North Dakota or South Dakota or something like that.
Standing Rock.
And
it had to have been Standing Rock.
Something like that. I think it was a pipe
with the
issue
reservation and the pipeline. They were trying to take.
Yes, something like that. And then, that's one of the things. Like when Nikki gets the information, she gets it. Then she responds from what she gets. And she was trying to
I'll say for
get food and supplies. I'm like, that is maybe the most that goes to the core of your heart. It ain't got to be anybody I directly know. It ain't got to be any special group that I'm affiliated with. Right is right, wrong is wrong. If people need help, then whatever I can do on whatever level I can do it. I've seen that, and I don't know if it was fires in Bass Drop or some flooding or something. And she's like, "Hey, we can get together." That is the dopest thing I ever see, because it's not even directly involving you, but when you see something and you have a heart for it, I am more impressed with that than anything that you can say or do. That speaks directly towards your heart. That's why I rock with you.
I'll say for the social issues, especially that's targeting the minority, she will definitely let her voice be heard. As far as the injustice that the minorities are receiving in this country, or are continuing to receive to this day, in particular, the so-called African Americans. The centuries, decades of racial history and tension that the African Americans as a community receive, and not even just them, the other ones as well. We just gave an example of that as far as the South Dakota issue. But if there's some injustice or social issues that's going on, she will not shy away from letting it be known.
Absolutely. More of a learner or a teacher? Absolutely, I agree 100%.
I'll say teacher, because I've seen her lead or be a mediator as far as getting these freethinker discussions underway. And a student as well, but more so a teacher. She's open to learning or hearing what information she may not have come across. But in regards to, because she's very outspoken, so when you're being a teacher, you are more outspoken in regards to certain topics that's being addressed, or presenting information in a way that a person can learn from it.
Right. Okay, y'all. That's it. That's the show. We went well past time, but it was great. I think this show was probably more for us than it was the viewer, but that's okay. It was
but that's what we do.
Awesome.
But that's what we do.
It's necessary. So yeah, I appreciate everybody that input. I thoroughly enjoyed this episode. And like I said, it's just one of those things where I think we all strive to learn, to grow, to understand ourselves, to just get there. I think that's one of the reasons why we rock with free thinkers as a whole. It's a whole lot of other stuff. Maybe we might do it next week, or we're considering going into we're gonna do a Black Mirror series. So we're gonna have a different episode of Black Mirrors. Yeah, we're gonna have a different episode of Black Mirror that we're going to talk about and discuss the actual show itself, and then the some of the underlying themes behind it, that takeaways behind that as well. So me and Nikki, we'll talk about it, whether we do the second half of this right now or we go into that. But thank everyone for joining, participating, staying with us for this extra amount of time and rocking with us. Birthday girl, you got any last words before we close out?
No, but I would suggest that anybody who is interested in what Q just said, start watching Black Mirror now if you haven't. I'm one of those who hasn't. So start watching it now. We may start talking about it as early as Tuesday. So start watching it. Like, it's going to be your responsibility. That's your homework. Start watching the show. That's what we're going
to do a different episode every week. We'll tell you which episode we'll be highlighting.
What's trending second is it on?
It should be on Netflix.
It's on Netflix.
Yeah, it should be Netflix. Yeah,
and let me tell you, because I already got 3 in mind that we're going to do. The 4th one, if you have an idea of the 4th one or one that you want us to talk about, then let us know on the page, or message
and post them. Post these show episodes that you're going to recommend on Freethinker, so people can know what you're talking about.
Okay. Well, look, we all talked out. Thank y'all for rocking with us. Happy birthday, Nikki.
Thank you. Wait, let me give you my 2 cents. I didn't get to get my 2 cents. I just suggested watching Black Mirror. My 2 cents, my closing. I just turned 44 yesterday. We're in Gulf Shores, Alabama. We're at the beach. It's not. it may not always be. What you want, right? But like, take the opportunity to fucking do something that you like. Do something that you like. Say yes to something, right? We say no to so much because we don't have time. We don't have money. We may not have a partner. We may not have the right clothes. We may not have this or that. Say yes to something. No day is promised. I just turned 44. It's pretty much the clock ticks at this point, right? Every fucking day is important. Make every day count. Somewhere, somehow, we can make every day count. So that's what I leave you with. And this was an absolute, wonderful experience. I appreciate everything that everybody said. And, this is why we do what we do. There's going to be people who are watching us be completely raw and emotional and vulnerable and received it and gave it and did it live, men to men, woman to woman, woman to man, man to woman. And it was all okay. Like, it was all okay. And this is the energy that collectively we need to spread. So thank you for being here. Thank you for watching. Thank you guys who have been, contributing in the comments. This was a great birthday week. And happy birthday to my sister. Today is her birthday.
Oh, happy birthday, sister, Nikki's sister.
And happy birthday to my sister. And we'll see you guys next Tuesday.
Good stuff. Good night.
Thank you.
Bye.
Y'all be good.
Good night, y'all.
Gotta be good. Say no to Viter, Texas.